Richard Twasegai says he shops at Massmart Holdings LED game store in Kampala, the Ugandan capital, because the quality is better than at the local market. Like millions of other Africans, he can afford it if the prices are a little higher. These stores are high class, Twasegai, a 61-year-old businessman, said while shopping at the chain store. In ordinary stores, there are a lot of counterfeits, but these big stores care about their reputation. It's people such as Twasegai, members of Africa's middle class, who prompt Wal-Mart Stores Incorporated on September 27th to propose purchasing Massmart, the continent's third largest retailer, for $4.6 billion. With 288 stores in 14 African countries, purchasing Johannesburg-based Massmart would enable Walmart to profit from one of the world's fastest-growing retail markets. Africa's population reached 1 billion last year, and after economic growth averaging 4.9% from 2000 to 2008, the number of families with an income of more than $20,000 a year has exceeded India's, according to a report by McKinsey & Company Incorporated. With China's investing in African minerals and infrastructure projects and the continent's population rising by more than 2% a year, that market is set to expand. It would be to their own detriment if companies ignore Africa, said Celeste Franconer, Africa's analyst at Johannesburg-based Rand Merchant Bank, the investment banking arm of First Rand. We are seeking massive growth to the population and increasing middle class and people having more access to money. Consumer spending in Africa rose at a company rate of 16% between 2005 and 2008, driven by economic and population growth and migration to cities. New York-based McKinsey said in its June report, McKinsey estimated that the number of consumers earning more than $1,000 a year will rise by 221 million within 5 years. Sub-Saharan Africa's economy will expand 5.5% next year, 2.5 times faster than developed countries. According to the International Monetary Fund, per capita income in sub-Saharan Africa was $1,906 last year, according to the World Bank. South African companies have spearheaded retail investments in the continent. Shoprite Holdings, South Africa's largest retailer by market value, began expanding abroad in 1995 and now has 71 stores in 16 African countries, according to the company's website. Rivals Pick n Pay stores and Woolworths Holdings, also Cape Town-based, both announced plans this year to expand their African operations. Pick n Pay may accelerate plans to cut costs and improve efficiency before Walmart's arrival, the company's CEO, Nick Badminton, said yesterday. In Mozambique, Anita Gumbai, a 45-year-old housewife, stopped asking her husband, a taxi driver, to buy food for the family on his regular trips to South Africa after ShopRite opened a store in the capital, Maputo. The entry of big chains is welcome because most of their products are of high quality and they are well packaged, especially compared with the unhygienic street markets where the poor have to shop, Gumbari said. Bentonville, Arkansas-based Walmart will face challenges in the world's poorest regions. It will need to maintain a supply chain in a continent where roads and railways are unreliable. Property rights are often weak and security isn't guaranteed, said Pothering, managing director of Johannesburg-based Vicetac. It manages more than 1 billion rand of assets for private clients. Poverty remains rampant in Africa, with 50% of the population living on less than $125 a day. According to the World Bank, in each of the continent's 53 countries has its own tariff laws and regulations. To correct myself, 50% of the population living on less than $1.25 a day. One must not forget that Africa is lots of different countries with different cultures, different languages, and different ways of doing business, said Jane Van Zyl, retail analyst for Old Mutual Investment Group of South Africa, which is South Africa's largest privately owned fund manager. Perhaps they will fail if they try and do it fast. You have to step away from markets that are not ready to be entered. The process can't be rushed. Nigerian potential. Wal-Mart was lured by the potential of markets such as Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation with 104 million people. The focus has shifted towards these oil-based economic and commodities-based countries, which is where people have more purchasing power, said Andrew Kingsley, who's helped oversees 300 billion rand for Salam Investment Management in Cape Town. The purchasing power of Nigerians' earnings between 1,000 and 5,000 a year doubled to 20 billion between 2000 and 2007. McKinsey estimated Massmart has plans to increase the number of its outlets in Africa, largest oil producer, to 20 from 1 over the next 2 years. Walmart's international CEO, Doug McMillan, told investors at a presentation in Rogers, Arkansas, that rising income levels in South Africa made Massmart a tremendous opportunity. South Africa consumers are going to want more general merchandise. They're going to want more food, he said. Over time, he said, the stores outside South Africa will pay benefits as retailers learn what it's like to operate in these countries. The game store in Lagos is cleaner and not as chaotic as the market, said Kola Olapado, an accountant who owns 50,000 Naira, which is $3,300 a month, and shops there. You never have to fear that by the time you walk out, your wallet is missing. Walmart, the world's largest retailer, offered to bid 148 rand a share for Massmart, South Africa's largest listed retailer, a premium of 9.8% over its share price at the time. The company examining Massmart's finances. The base work has been done. All they need is to do is leverage that, said Evan Walker, who helps manage 150 billion rand at Johannesburg-based RMB Asset Management. For Tresegai, the game shopper in Kampala, the important thing is quality. Some things may appear expensive, but considering their superior quality, prices remain good, he said. At such a big store, one avoids the hazards of human jams, which corners their pickpockets.